10 years, it's not luck. Even when we down, I gotta get my pockets up. Everything we got, I'm needing more, it's not enough. When they see this shit, I swear I got them looking shook, I gotta show.
Welcome to Relentless. I'm your host, Cole Maurer. This podcast is all about the pursuit of our lives in many different aspects, from fitness, health, and more. I aim to be relentless in all things and want to share that with you. Today's episode is about my recent scouting trip that I just went on for mule deer hunting in northern Arizona, and some of the lessons I learned, some of the challenges I faced, and some takeaways from the trip. So let's get into it right now. So if you didn't know, by the way, I have a video up on this on my scouting trip on YouTube. Be sure to check that out. The channel is just my name. It's Cole Maurer. If you didn't know, I just recently went on a scouting trip this past weekend to northern Arizona, to the Flagstaff area, which is where I've planned to hunt for mule deer this year in Arizona. Which, by the way, if you don't know different areas like myself, I never hunted in Arizona. I grew up in Colorado. That's where I hunted. I didn't know where I was looking at all. I chose the unit I chose because it looks the most similar terrain that I'm used to in Colorado. So we'll see how it goes. I did talk to somebody. They said, there's plenty of deer in there. We'll see. I'm sure, hey, it's in the woods. There's trees, there's mountains, there's water and food. There's probably animals in there. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, if you don't know areas, it can be a little bit daunting. So that's just a little side note on that. But yeah, basically, I just went up to this area and I decided, hey, I should probably scout it before I go because I don't know anything about it. So it's probably a good idea to just go look at it. And I'm really glad I did because I definitely learned a lot. It was helpful to me to go. So driving through, temperature was pretty good. I mean, really nice weather out, sunny. Did not look like it was going to rain or have any weather like that. The mountains were huge. It was way bigger than I expected. Now, keep in mind, it's not like your Rockies or whatever, your 14ers, big high peaks. But still, when I was pulling up to them, based on where I planned to go and what I had done e-scouting on Go Hunt for e-scouting, it was still like, wow, I'm going to go up there. That's kind of daunting. So I was pulling up, driving through, which felt great. I mean, it's been a while since I've been in this scenario where I've been hunting. You're out in the truck. It's great weather. It's just nice. It felt really good to go through the mountain air, the crisp air. And yeah, it just felt awesome to be there. So the plan was to basically e-scout, which I did. And when I got done with that, I decided I'm going up there. So I went up there and I'm looking at where I'm planning on going, and I'm just like, wow, I cannot believe that's my plan today. And I even told myself, like, you can't overcommit yourself today because it's only one day. I did not bring like a bunch of provisions like food. I didn't bring backup water solutions. I did have a water filter, but I didn't know where water was. I know what it shows on the map, but water's not always in those locations it shows on the map. So I didn't know exactly where water was to be accessed. So I told myself, even on camera, like, I can't overcommit myself. And, I think the point of what I wanted to talk about is that my brain right there was telling me it's too big. It's too much. It's more than you thought. And that's exactly what I'm here to talk about today, because my brain was trying to tell me that you can't do that. It's just a day. You don't have the time for that. My brain was looking for excuses. It was looking for ways to do easy things instead of hard things. And that was a huge deal for me. I recognized this as I was going through, as I was getting ready to go up this mountain, and call it stupid, call it maybe doing the wrong thing. I don't know. But I told myself, like, hey, you recognize that you're trying to do the easy route. So what if you have an only day? Like, you're going to do what you're set out to do. So I did exactly that. I started to hike up this mountain, and I'm going through, and it's really funny. I'm not used to hunting in an area where there's like kind of public trails, like, you know, hiker type trails, people that go on them commonly. Of course, you're on public land, it's all public, but what I mean is like more of a heavier hiker trail. And I'm going through the first part of it, and I'm running into some hikers and everything like that, and I'm like, man, I really have to get out of this area, which the only way out of this area is up, and it's up through no trail, like you're paving your own path going up this portion, because like I said, it's a heavy hiker area. So it's meant to be one of those things where, yeah, follow this thing along, and you're done, you get to the top, take a picture, selfie, go back down for brunch. That's kind of the area that I was at. And where I wanted to go was getting into the wilderness, getting away from those trails. And getting into the wilderness where I was at was basically straight up. In fact, I remember from the bottom where I parked was 8,000 feet of elevation with change. And where I ended up was right at about 12,000 feet of elevation. And it was every bit of straight up going up there. So as I'm going through, I'm on these trails, I'm whispering, because I hadn't seen anybody yet. So I'm like, I don't want to spook any animals. And I'm whispering, and I next thing I know, I do this update. It's on my channel, you can watch it. And next thing I know, I put the camera away, I'm getting ready to start again, and this group of hikers, you know, hooting, hollering, because they're, you know, thinking of bears, whatever, comes walking by, and I'm like, here I am whispering, and just a group of hikers. So that was pretty funny to me as I'm going through, and that really reiterated or reinforced, I have to get off this trail and get into the wilderness. So I kept making my way up, and I found a point to do just that. And once again, getting back to the point here, I got to that area where it was the decision, pull the trekking poles out, decide to go up or not, decide to go through some pain or not. And my mind wanted to make those easy choices. No, you can take the route up to the view area where you can see up there, or no, you don't have enough time, like it's already 10 o'clock, you need to be back home by today, so you're not going to be able to do it. And once again, I had to self-check that, pull out the trekking poles, and start hiking through some brush, some timber, some deadfall. And that's a choice I had to deliberately make. I had to make that action step. I had to forcibly tell myself to do that. So the thought is simple. I want to tell you that you see on YouTube, you see different podcasts, you see the David Goggins, you see the different people that are out there doing hard things. They're, you know, being physically fit, they're being active, they're running ultra marathons, they're doing crazy feats of, you know, human capability. And I can't speak for all of them, obviously, but I'd be willing to bet that that choice does not come naturally. And that's what I want to share with you, is that it's not always David Goggins, get hard, we're going. You know, it's not always that. Not everybody. It's sometimes, hey, I want to be comfortable. Hey, I want to do easy things. Hey, I want to be lazy. Hey, insert whatever excuse you have. And you have to recognize that in that moment. You have to understand that in that moment. And you have to force yourself to turn the opposite way. Nobody's going to be there. Nobody is with me to tell me to go, no, you're fine, do this, do that. Nobody was there. It's me and myself. And if you will, the one little guy here and the one little guy here on this other shoulder. One guy's telling me, hey, you don't have to do this. And the other guy's saying, you have to do this. And sometimes that other guy saying, you have to do this, is an idiot. But really, it's the one you have to listen to. You have to do it. Every time you decide not to do this, every single time you cheat yourself. You are telling yourself whatever goal you have, whatever dream you want to follow, whatever plan you've set out to do is not as important as that 1 second or 10 minutes or 1 day or 1 month or 1 year of comfort, of easiness, of whatever. And let me tell you, I'm not where I want to be in my life. But I know that making those choices in those moments will bring me a step closer to that. If it's an inch, it's an inch. If it's a mile, it's a mile. This is something that I have to do on every single choice, every single hard thing you encounter, every single challenge you run up against. I have to consciously tell myself to do it. And that's a reminder for you, because it's not always gonna be easy, and you will not always have somebody there to encourage you on. I mean, I never have somebody there. I mean, my wife and I, we talk about things, but ultimately, when I get up at 5 a.m. and I lace the shoes up for a run, or when I set out to do this extraneous hike, it's just me there. It's just me in those moments. Nobody's with me. Getting back to that scouting trip, I'm pulling up in my truck. And as I mentioned, I'm looking up. I on a Go Hunt, the maps to do the research. I know exactly where I set my pin to go glass, where I thought I was going to go. And I'm driving up. I can see that spot, way up there. And compared to where I'm at, it was a big difference. Overall, I think I hiked something like 8 miles there and back. And like I said, it was about 3,000 feet of vertical. I can't remember, but I think I started sometime like 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. by the time I got up there, because I left here at 5 a.m. to go down or to go up to that area. And it's about a 2-hour drive. So that's 7 o'clock. I maybe started hiking around 7:30-ish. And I didn't get done. I wasn't in the truck till, it had to have been 5:30, maybe 6. I know the sun was going down. It was looking beautiful out. It had that perfect golden hour going across the meadows as I was coming down in the lower country. And it took every bit of that time. That was 100% hiking for the majority of the time until I got to the top, and I spent a little bit of time glassing. And that was what sort of sparked this podcast idea, was because my purpose to go up there was to glass, to, look at country, get as much country in my eyes as I could see if I see anything, looking good, or even animals. And like I said, I did not know the area. I didn't know what it looks like geographically or terrain-wise, and I was super surprised by the amount of tree coverage. There was a lot of pine tree coverage going up the mountain. It was crazy. I was going up the mountain, and it had to have been 45-degree slope or more. Like, it was steep. And I've been going up for a while. And I turn around. You can't see all of the land behind you. You're up way high. Like, you're getting up towards 12,000 feet. There's nothing in your way. I could not see through the tree coverage turning around looking behind me. So as I'm going up, I'm getting real nervous, because I'm like, man, when I get to the top of this, am I even going to be able to see out? Because of how much tree coverage is on this mountain. I tell you what, on the maps, it does not do it justice. You cannot tell what's a shrub or what's a tree very easily. At least I couldn't. And I was worried as I was going up. So I make it on my way up to the top. And by the way, trekking poles, if you don't have trekking poles, you need to get some. I picked mine up. I mentioned them in the video that I shot on this from REI, from the used section, for like more than half off. Pick up trekking poles. It saved my butt today. That day it was so easy having those. It made a big difference going up and down. But I get up there, get to the top, and I'm ready to look out. And sure enough, what do I find when I get to the top? I find a bunch of tree coverage. Now, you'll see in the video, I was able to find some open areas. But the problems with those open areas that I was able to look out from is everything going, it was like straight down in front of me to the other side of the mountain. So very steep. Yeah, almost steeper than my side that I came up. And then you're looking across all that, and it's just tree coverage, as far as you can see going down. And then across the way there, 2 miles, I can see the next ridges. I estimated using the map software that I have, it was about 2 miles away to the next ridge. And right now I'm on a budget. I only have a set of Vortex. I think they're 8x42s or something like that. They're pretty not powerful for that sort of scenario. And I didn't even have a tripod mount at the time, but I was using my trekking pole to rest on, which was a pretty good hack. It worked pretty good. But looking 2 miles from 8x42 is like, I could hardly tell. I was able to see things. I did not see any animals. But needless to say, the glassing opportunity for me was not going well. I tried to walk across the ridge, and on my plan for this scouting trip, I had planned on going through a little hump. What do they call that? In the middle of a ridge. So you have in the middle of peaks. You have a peak, and you have the saddle. So yeah, maybe it's a saddle. But I planned on going down a saddle and up. I look over at that where I planned on going, and it was like going back down the whole dang thing and back up the whole thing. It was like doing another hike. And this time, not so much of the self-doubt or ease of comfort crept in, but really the reality of time. I could not make it to that other peak, without it being getting close to dark. And my target for that day was to get home by around 9 o'clock. And honestly, I got home right at 9 o'clock. So what I did was timed perfectly. But I had planned on going to that other peak to get another vantage, and that just was not going to happen. So walked across the ridge and see what else I could find. It was a lot of tree coverage, some gaps open where I could look at some stuff, but really the scouting was a massive failure in the sense of what I went there to do. And what I went there to do was look for animals and to scout, and man, it was not a success for that. But that is what led me to talk about this today, because I hiked down, I got done with it, and I got back to the truck. I finished my video that I was filming, and I told myself, I said, you know what, Cole? Anybody could view this as a failure. Like, everybody could view this as a failure if they wanted to, and if you let yourself. But it was not a failure. It was a success in more ways than one, and I'll talk about a couple of the obvious ones. Firstly, it helped me know the terrain. I was able to see what the terrain was like and what the tree coverage was like, which was a big deal. That really showed me. The next thing is it helped me retailor my scouting plan for e-scouting so that I could redraw up my map. I could get everything more dialed on what I think I'm going to do now based on what I learned that day. And it also helped me realize where I might need to go rather than where I thought I needed to go. I don't know what I was thinking. I haven't hunted for a while, and Is your brain telling yourself, hey, you're going to get to the highest point ever, and then Mr. Massive Buck is going to be sitting there smoking a stogie saying, hey, congrats, you made it up here where I'm at. Feel free, take a shot. Is that what I was thinking? I don't know, but I just decided, hey, I need to go to the highest spot I can find and glass out as much country as I can see because I only have one day. And I did learn that this was not the strategy it taught me. So it was successful in what I needed to do. And I actually was able to talk to Hunter as well, who's getting ready for a late season archery elk hunt that's a little bit later. And he gave me some insight and everything. So overall, strategy-wise and everything, major success, not a failure. Just because I didn't see animals and just because it wasn't worth it was not a failure. Now, the most important reason it was not a failure is what I talked about earlier. I pushed myself to do something hard. And it wasn't rewarding at the top. Does that mean tomorrow I'm not going to do something hard because it wasn't rewarding? No. And that's exactly the success. Teaching me that just because you do something hard does not mean it's going to guarantee a success. But it does guarantee success in your discipline. If I can have discipline, I will get success in all the areas of my life. If I have discipline to care about my wife, to do things for her and think about her more than I think of myself, that's going to do better things in my relationship than not doing that. If I have discipline in my work, making sure I show up and do the things I'm supposed to do day in, day out, that is going to benefit me versus doing the opposite. I may lose the ability to do my work or have the things I have because I can't afford them because I'm not doing the things I'm supposed to do. Those discipline items translate to every single thing that I do in my life. And you're not always going to get that buck sitting there smoking a stogie at the top saying, go ahead, buddy, take your shot. You made it. Sometimes it's going to come with suck, or it's going to just not be worth it. But it is worth it because of the discipline and success and fact you did something hard. You got something hard. You built your mind muscle. Every week I go to the gym to tear my muscles in my body and build them. And it's no different with your mind. We have to do the same thing with our mind. I have to do the same thing with my mind. I need to tear that muscle and rebuild it. I have to do that. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. That's the important lesson that I learned from my scouting trip. And overall, it was a good trip. I learned a lot. I really enjoyed being in the mountains and in the location that I was at. It was beautiful scenery. It was perfect weather. And there's really nothing like being in... There's nothing like being in the woods. There's just nothing like it. It's comforting. It's quiet. It's peaceful. And yeah, it was nice being out there. So the lesson is to do those hard things. Don't let yourself talk yourself out of it. You can't cheat yourself. Every time you choose to not do something because it's easier, you're cheating yourself. You're not going to get to where you want to go or do the things you want to do by doing that. Some people might. Who knows? There's all kinds of stories out there. But I know that for somebody like me, it's not coming that way. It is not coming that way. So that's the podcast. First episode. I don't even know how long it was. Hopefully not too long. I can talk too much sometimes. And that's what I wanted to share with you. I really appreciate you being here. I would have recorded a couple of these so you have a couple things to listen to. But this was relevant because I just did that scouting. I wanted to make sure to get this out to you so you could listen to it if anybody does want to listen to it. And stay tuned. I'm going to try to bring a podcast as much as I can, as many topics as I can talk about. It's funny, in my videos, I actually have been told by friends, you talk too much. So maybe podcast is perfect for me, because then I can just talk and not have to worry about all the visuals. I'm just kidding. I'm going to try to bring some good quality topics and some meaningful things to you. And, I'll try to keep it respectful of your time as long as it's all important information I'm getting out there. So this is Relentless with Cole Maurer. I've been your host here. It's been a pleasure. Remember, this life is built, not born. Earn every single step. And of course, stay relentless. See you on the next one.
What's up, Paul?
What the fuck? I've been at this 10 years, it's not luck. Even when we down, I gotta get my